welcome back to another stream. And as you can see, we're in X-Plane, but we're doing something a little bit different for the first. These trucks are very brave. If they only knew what's happening there, they only knew what I know about my helicopter flying abilities, I don't think they would be driving so close to us. So, for those of you that always ask, when am I going to crash? If we ever had a chance of that happening, it's going to be on this stream. I recently picked up the Bell 407, which I still think is one of the coolest looking helicopters. It's just, I don't know, it just looks fancy. It's nice and fast. It's luxurious inside. And they use they use them from everything, rescue missions to private charters to executive transport. So nice and versatile, nice and quick, nice and stable, except when I fly it. So we're going to be attempting to properly fly, excuse me, and you just despawned, to properly fly the Bell 407. So let's jump into the cockpit and get cracking. So we're actually here at London City Airport. So in fact, before we jump into the cockpit, let's kind of show you this cool little app that I found over the weekend. So I did set up a thingy for this. Right, so let me go and grab this guy. And let me make sure that it's the right resolution on this side now that I moved it to a different screen. So, okay. So this is a little app called Little Nav Map. And what's really cool is you can actually connect it to any simulator. So somewhere up here, I don't know this very well. So there's Flight Sim 10, new Flight Sim, and I've got X-Plane in there as well. So you can load the different sceneries from each of these airports. Let's just turn this off for now so that it doesn't keep snapping. You can actually load the sceneries from each of these airports. And what's really cool, I'm going to use this for all my flight planning now, is it gives you all of the airspaces as well. So we can see we're at London City, we've got the airspace. If you just mouse over it, it pops up. And now we can see, okay, we've got the London TMA, which is 2,500 feet all the way up to 19.5. TMA 1, same thing. Southern CTA, which is 19.5 all the way up to 24,500. And then London City CTR, which we are within, 0 to 2,500 feet. So it gives you a nice overview of the airspace and all of the different restrictions, which is really cool because this is very difficult information to find. Oh, Kelly's there in the chat. First one, Jason, cheater. Why am I cheating? In reality, you would have a very detailed map with all of this information on, but they're very expensive. So I'm not going to buy them just for this. And obviously, you would only buy the maps for the areas that you fly in. But because I'm in the sim, we go all over the world and we do different things. So this pulls the information directly from the sim, which is really nice. So like there's a little restricted airway. So City Gen London, which is a danger zone, all the way up to 1,100 feet. So it gives you all of these information. And there's so much you can do in this. So we can plot our route, which is exactly what we've done. So we're flying from London City to standby. RAF, what is Ham? So RAF, okay, Sizzle's a cheater. What does she do? You're just a baddie. You need to be paying more attention. You need to be on time, Jason. There's no cheating here. But anyway, so we're flying up to an RAF base. So it's probably about 25, maximum 30 minutes, the little legs that we're going to do. So we're going to do a whole bunch of FSEconomy flights in the 407. Starting off at London City, and we'll be heading back to London City. There's loads of little helicopter jobs that go out of London. Well, they don't necessarily have to be helicopter, but like little first. See, I'm reading the chat now and saying the wrong thing. Short jobs that we can do in the chopper. So that's what we're going to do. We've plotted our route. We're going to be flying mostly VFR. We are in X-Plane, so it doesn't look like the new flight sim, but I do have the ortho photos, so it's doable. We can follow the landmark. So we're going to go out to this. Whatever this roundabout is, follow the main road up next roundabout, and then up past the first railway crossing and the second railway crossing. We're going to follow that railway line all the way up. Brentwood, Ingateston, Chelmsford, something else, and a bunch of other ones on the way. But you don't want to come here to look at a map. We are going to go flying. So I'm going to keep this open on the side. I just realized that that's going to mess up what you guys are looking at. What a baddie. Right, so I'm going to have to come up with a different plan for looking at chat here. So let me do chat on my phone. How does that? That'll work. Cool. So now, because I'm going to look at that map on my other screen here where I normally have chat, so I can make sure we're in the right place. Okay, let's jump into the chopper. Now, I don't know the proper order for the startup sequence here, because I've only just flown this plane a few times. But obviously we need the battery. And then it's going to shout at us. So we'll disconnect that horn. Actually, I wonder if there's a if there's a control for that. So what I've started doing now that I've got my HOTAS is I'm creating different profiles for each aircraft, so that I can have each aircraft with its own setup of all the different keys that I need. Okay, so there, I'm going to put this on my trigger. Mute. So it's, yeah, mute horn. I think that's the one. Sick. Okay, now that's mapped to my joystick, because that goes off every single time we fire up the aircraft. Okay, so next thing we're going to need, turn on the pitot heater. It is raining here in London, and the visibility is not great, so we're going to be doing really low 500 feet off the ground kind of stuff. Let's turn on all of our instruments. We'll turn on the fuel pumps. Anti-collision light can come on. Defog position light as well. I don't think we need any aircon stuff. Let's actually get the temperature. So we are at EGLC. Right, so temperature is 3 degrees. Heater on for sure. We'll put that on low. Right, pressure 993, that's low. Headphones on so that we don't have to listen to that the entire time. So let's go and dial in 993 over here. So there's 995. So 993 is about, let's just see. So that would be 24. That's too much. So 993 is about there-ish. Good enough. Right. Next thing we need to do is just double check that all this is on. We don't really need anti-ice, but we do need avionics. That was the other one I needed. Then we can turn all this on. So from little nav map, let's put our transponder on as well. I've generated a flight plan, so we can actually come in here. Now this is a bit tricky. This, I will admit, I had to watch a YouTube video on how to get this right. But you can load X-Plane flight plans into the default Garmin 430, Garmin, what's the other one? 530 and the 750, I think, with the default Garmins. You need to come into the flight plan window, obviously by clicking on flight plan. Then with nothing selected, so if you turn on the cursor, we've now selected that. If you do that, it's not going to work. Turn off the cursor, and now the inner knob, the small one, if we turn that, we get a list of all our flight plans. Then I can now select that one. It's the only one that I have there. And we can load that up. And now we have that flight plan route created from little nav map in our GPS. Let's switch our navigation over to GPS. And this helicopter actually has an autopilot, which is quite interesting. And it can actually follow the GPS. So we'll show you guys how that works as well. But the next thing we need to do is just crack the throttle. This is something I actually want to change around in my settings. So this always happens when you get a new aircraft, is we do spend quite a bit of time messing around with settings. This needs to be throttle. Cool, that looks good. Okay, so throttle, we don't want it full, we want it idle. I need to reverse that because it's the wrong way. Oh, it was reversed, that's why it's the wrong way. Okay, so all the way down will give us idle. We can flip this up to start. Turn on the fuel. And the helicopter will manage its own startup. So it has a FADEC system which controls the engine. So that's gonna sort out our engine start. And then we see the blades start to spin. Make sure that none of this gets out of limits. Okay, once that stabilizes, we can then push the throttle up. Right, so now that we have that powered up, let's go and switch on our generator. So we're taking power now from the engine instead of from the battery. And let's push that throttle up. Over here, the engine starts to spool up. And then this RPM light should extinguish once our rotor RPM comes up. There we go. Let's uncage our artificial horizon. Okay. Now comes the first, slightly less difficult part, still difficult nonetheless, which is the takeoff. Landing is definitely the most difficult in a helicopter. Let's see if we can take off without crashing. Oh yes, before I do that, we should also start our FSEconomy flight. Please don't crash. Okay. Naturally. Oh, okay. Didn't crash. It took longer than ever before. Obviously, because we're streaming, everything gets worse. I need my rental obviously timed out. Let's quickly go and fix that. Let's go. Okay, let's make sure we've got enough fuel. So I'll actually just put in a little bit, up to 95 gallons. We'll refuel there. Right, and then let's start that flight. Cool, so we've got 6 passengers on board. And we are going to make our way to RAF something. I can never remember the name. Right. Hold thumbs, because if we fail, this is where we're going to fail. So, flying a helicopter, I'm probably not going to talk too much as this thing starts lifting up. Once again, these trucks have a mind of their own. Whoa! Okay, I've already noticed the first thing I need to fix. This is not working. Let's take this off, because that is not doing what I thought it would do. Okay, once again, I haven't flown this very much, so it's going to take a bit of setting controls and such. There we go. Let's try not to drift into the buildings. Okay, when I said I was bad, I wasn't joking. We shouldn't kind of seesaw around like that. We also, in real life, wouldn't have trucks driving through us. Okay, there we go. Kind of stabilized this, which is good. Okay, that initial kind of setup is one of the most difficult parts, because now we can make our way out. So we kind of want to go out this way. Nice thing about a helicopter is we don't need to use the runway. And I'm gonna see, I'm not sure what that cloud base is like. I would like to get up to about 500 feet, but depending on clouds, we may not be able to get that high. Right, and we are making our way out, so let's now follow our GPS, which is not super easy. We've got an old school GPS in here, well, not old school, but very basic Garmin 430. So yeah, I don't know how I'm going to show you stuff because my hands are full. I'm using I just said all three of my hands, but I'm controlling 3 different axes at the same time to try to keep this balanced. Okay, the clouds seem to be at about 400 feet here. So we'll keep it at 350. Okay, I'm going to put the altitude hold on. So the aircraft... Oh, that's why I struggled so much with the takeoff. Because I'm an idiot. Okay, this is gonna freak the aircraft out something disgusting. Right, I forgot to engage the stability system. What a baddie. Okay, that's why I had so many issues, because the helicopter is just fighting me and not helping me. Right. Okay, that makes a huge difference. Okay, that must come off. Let's get ourselves back up. So 400 feet, we're just about in the clouds. I think 500 is going to be too much. Right, also, we should have been following this road. But yeah, as you can see, not a very experienced helicopter pilot. But we are here to learn, that is the idea. Yeah, let's bring us down to 400 feet, and then I'll use the stability system to keep us at 400 feet. Why does it feel like that's not working? Okay, no, it is working. Right, so now we should be looking for this road, which I believe is this one here on our left. So this is Ilford Lane. We're passing over now. This big road here, which now passes to our right, this is the one that we want to be following. So let's go this way. And shortly it should cross over some railway lines, which we will follow. Yes, we're doing about 72 knots or so. We'll push that up to about 130 when we kind of hit the longer stretches where we can you know, pick up the speed. Right, there's the railway lines underneath us. We're going to follow this all the way out to the RAF base that we're going to. This is Elizabeth Line Station, it looks like. That's the name I'm seeing on the map here. Right, let's push that collective forward and pick up our speed now that we've got a kind of longer leg that we're on. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do, take a look down here. So this is our kind of autopilot system, or stability augmentation system. I think that's what SAS stands for. So I've got it in altitude mode, so it's going to keep us at about 400 feet. But let's flip it over into the GPS mode, like so, and it's going to follow the GPS automatically. That'll give me a chance to talk to you guys a little bit about the aircraft. So we've got our little AVI tab here, as always. There we also have a map that we can follow. Unfortunately, it doesn't show the route that we want to be following on there, so it's not as easy to use for navigation, but we still have the map. Now, there we are, up to just under 130 knots. Watching our torque, so we don't want that to go into the yellow, so we'll back that off a little bit and we'll slow down. But this helicopter, like trimming a helicopter, is completely different from trimming an aircraft, and most of the helicopter systems are actually different from what I understand. This one has a force trim system, so you'll see there's a trim switch or a force trim on the joystick here, and how it actually works is you move the joystick to the point where, you know, the aircraft is flying the way that you want, and then you hold down the force trim and it actually disengages the stick from the controls, and then you can move the stick back to the center, let go of the force trim, and it re-engages it at that new position. So then wherever you are holding it kind of becomes the center of your controls, if that makes any sense. It's a really interesting way of doing it. It makes it a lot easier, whereas in a plane you kind of have to click the trim in whichever direction. You know, if you want to trim nose up, you click the trim down, and that'll gradually bring the nose up. And this, you kind of set it to where you want it. It's almost like fly-by-wire, like you have in the Airbus, but not automatic. In an Airbus, you push the side stick, and wherever you leave it, the aircraft will keep that attitude. This is kind of the same thing, except it's not automatic. You have to hold down that button, center the joystick, let go, and then it kind of reconnects as that with that as your new center of your controls, which is really cool. Quite interesting. I've really haven't done much helicopter flying at all. I do fly the Huey in DCS quite a bit, every now and then, which I haven't flown for a while, but I need to get back into that now that I've got my new HOTAS. Flying some troop transport, flying supplies out on some of the multiplayer servers is really cool in the Huey. And the Huey also has a similar force trim system. In reality, I don't know if it's exactly the same. I'm pretty sure they would have had to adapt that system somewhat for use on a computer. But hey, the Huey and the 407 are both made by Bell, so I'm pretty confident. Well, I wouldn't be surprised that there would be some commonality between the two. So this is a Bell 407, and the Huey is also made by Bell. There we go, nice red helicopter. Powering along what? We're going along the Elizabeth Line, Great Eastern Main Line. Never been to London, so I don't know what that means. If you do, pretty awesome. So the other thing I probably should have done is turn on my landing lights. Not that that's going to make much of a difference. But we can see it here in the front. A nice landing light there. Really cool looking chopper. I think it's one of the best in terms of looks. Always liked the 407. That's why it's the one that I picked up for X-Wing. Now, here's where it starts to get interesting, because as you can see, the terrain is rising, and the clouds are not. So I'm going to ditch the autopilot, because we are going to have to avoid the trees and such over here. Looks like we might just now get up to 500 feet. We want to turn to follow this railway. A little bit bumpy. A bit too much of a climb. Turn, let's bring ourselves back down to 500 feet. And again, we're following this railway line all the way up to the airbase. Okay, keeping an eye on the torque, we don't want to go above 90. So 84 is alright. That's interesting with a plane. If you think about your RPM and your torque on the engine, you only really have to worry about that when you're throttling up the engine. In the helicopter, moving the collective obviously affects the torque, because the more collective you pull, the more you change the angle of the blades, so the more stress it puts on the engine. But turning the anti-torque rotor, so the tail rotor, also, depending on which way, you're either increasing or decreasing the torque on the engine. Now, I'm a noob, so I can't actually tell you which way it does which. But obviously the whole point of the tail rotor is to oppose the torque that the spinning main rotor puts in. So it pushes air in the opposite direction that the main rotor wants to spin us around in. And then you're increasing that counter thrust, it's putting more stress on the engine. If you're decreasing, it's putting less stress on the engine. So there's loads of different things you have to watch when you're making adjustments, and you're making adjustments to your collective and your cyclic and your rudder pedals all the time. So let's have a look at those. Let's hop on the autopilot. Okay, so we're back into nav mode, and I can show you. So this is our collective over here, and we can move that up and down, and that essentially, from my understanding, once again, I'm definitely not a real helicopter pilot, but that changes the pitch of the blades. So the more you pull the collective up, the greater the angle of the blades, so the more they kind of bite into the air, and that'll make the helicopter essentially want to climb up, and then in order to get it to go forward, we just pitch the nose down and we pull ourselves along like that. But obviously you need to balance that collective so that we are moving forward and not climbing or descending at the same time. Then our cyclic over here controls the roll and the pitch of the aircraft. So with the cyclic, that's kind of the only thing that's really similar to a plane, is we can roll the aircraft or pitch the nose up and down. So that's how we control our lateral movement. And then the anti-torque pedals, which kind of work like a rudder. We're not going to see it, I don't know why I'm turning around there, but they control the tail rotor, and that's how we control the yaw of the aircraft. And you are constantly balancing all three of those things together to make sure that the helicopter is doing what we want it to do. Or in my case, we hope, and we kind of do whatever the helicopter wants to do and then pretend that's what I wanted it to do. But we're doing okay for now. This is the easy part. The 407 has a fantastic stability system and autopilot, so this is real easy. When we get to the landing, that's when it starts to get interesting. Hey, Lorraine says, I come here to listen to you talk. Lovely accent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, you only have an accent to people who aren't from the same place as you. But that's pretty cool. I do my best to waffle on throughout the stream, so you are welcome to listen in. Right. The lucky salt loves to talk. Interestingly enough, normally I'm not much of a talker. It's just on stream. I guess it's kind of just when you're doing something that you enjoy, you like to talk about it. So there's lots to talk about while I'm flying, especially when I'm flying a new aircraft like we are tonight. That visibility is not promising. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Always appreciated. Right, we are not too far. Let me zoom out this map. So we're just about halfway. Little way to go. We are passing over. This little town is Borum. Coming up next is Hatfield. Interesting, like the UK, all these tiny, like little towns all over. And we are still following the. Oh, I see that other railway line is branched off. So we're just following the Great Eastern Main Line, which is all the way along this highway as well. Hopefully, as we get further north, our ground doesn't rise too much, because I don't think we can climb much higher than we are right now, because we are just barely beneath the cloud layer. Although we did have to climb a little bit from 400 to 500 to get over that initial bit of terrain, so it kind of looks like the terrain's actually going down. Once again, I don't know England very well. If this was South Africa, I would know, kind of based on where we are, if the terrain was going to get steeper. But yeah, I'm concentrating too much flying helicopters. Jason's asking the questions from our viewers. What a champion. Pushing for moderator. But yeah, Lorraine, let us know where you're from. Right, this little town is Whittam. I'm sure anyone from the UK that watches this will be like pronouncing all of these names super wrong. Stop saying my name, I'm trying to watch anime. Thanks, Jason. Okay, so Lorraine, you're actually from the UK. I'm doing my best to pronounce the towns. Do you stay anywhere near where I'm flying? So we just took off from London City. We're flying over Whittam now. Heading up northeast. Let me zoom out on this map. Get a kind of idea of where we are in the UK. So there's Chelmsford. So there we are, kind of northeast of London. We're going up here somewhere. Jason, I find it quite rude that you would rather watch anime than watch me fly a helicopter. You should definitely watch when I attempt to land at the RAF airbase, because that's actually something I want to look up. I tend to get into a situation called VRS, and I cannot remember what it stands for. Let's see. Vortex ring state. So it normally happens when you're slowing down and I'm descending to land, and you get into this, I don't quite understand it, but the kind of turbulence from your rotors prevents them from actually creating the lift that you need, and you kind of just fall to the ground. So that's happened to me a few times. So I need to be very careful when we're slowing down that we don't get into that. So that's going to be my main goal. You're saying you're going to kill us. Well, I didn't actually take you guys on board. I left you behind because I wasn't confident. But yeah, like I said earlier, if there's any stream where I had a chance of crashing, this is going to be it. Hey Sizzle says, I know what I'm doing, so we should be fine. Famous last words. Have you guys ever seen me fly a helicopter? No. So, done a few practice landings in the 407. I didn't come on stream full on noob, and I did crash in a few of them, so that bodes very well for the upcoming landing. But I've worked out that the VRS is the biggest issue. I need to just take it easy, slow down nice and early. I tend to hit the VRS if I'm trying to slow down too quickly. So if we take it easy and we don't rush it, we should be okay. The condensation from our water is just messing everything. Right, so we are coming up to... I don't know what this town is. Actually have a label. Oh, you're from Southampton. Okay, cool. That's interesting. This aircraft on FSEconomy is actually based in Southampton. So Southampton Airport is the home of this plane that we are flying. We are just, we've borrowed it for the evening and we're flying it out of London City. So someone earlier on must have flown it up from Southampton to London City because that's where I picked it up from. Right, let's have a look. Make sure we're flying nice and straight. Okay, so we're coming up to Colchester. You say you'd rather see SA Sunny Sky. Well, you say that. A lot of South Africa looks just like this at the moment, so we're actually having flooding issues at the moment. So there was a cyclone, I can't remember the name now. Jason, what was the name of the cyclone? I can't remember the name of the cyclone, but we've just had that pass through the kind of northern part of South Africa, and at the same time we had a cold front come up through the south, which have now kind of met in the middle. And there we go, Cyclone Elise. So yeah, they've kind of now met in a band that goes all the way from southern Botswana down through Johannesburg and down to the Eastern Cape, East London, Durban. All of that is just pouring with rain and covered in clouds. So what we're seeing right now in the sim in London is pretty much what it looks like outside here. In fact, I actually tried earlier when I was practicing and getting the 407 to work. I wanted to fly in South Africa, and the visibility was so bad that I couldn't actually take off. I couldn't see anything. The clouds were right just above the airport, so that's why I started flying in London, because at least here, I mean, I could actually get off the ground. We still have clouds of 500 feet, so yeah. South Africa, not so sunny at the moment, and it looks like it's going to be like that for another week or so. So I was actually planning on tomorrow jumping in Flight Sim 2020 and kind of braving the storms in South Africa, doing some FSEconomy flying there, so we might actually do that tomorrow. No sun in SA. Rainy seeing, I remember those on our Tenerife. Yeah, it has been raining really hard for probably about a week now. It was on and off. It rains really hard for like an hour or two, stops for a bit, and then carries on again. So we've been doing that for a while. Kelly says, Jason, you must be quicker. See, I knew Kelly would answer. I just like saying Jason so that I interrupt your show. Because I'm nice like that. Right, over some farmland here, it looks like. This is Ardley. I wanted to say Ardley, but it's definitely not that. Oh, there's a little farm airstrip down here. I wonder if we can see that in the sun. Doesn't look like it. It should be down there somewhere. Oh, there. That's a road. There it is. Oh, that's a road. Batty. Okay, looks like it might not actually be in the game. I mean, it is just a little farm strip. We definitely passed it. Dave, first of all, this isn't a plane, this is a helicopter, and I think you were the one of the people who actually asked about flying helicopters. And secondly, I'm going to get in trouble because I just realized I didn't tell Kelly this, but huge congrats to you and Michelle. I did see, actually I think I commented on your thing on Facebook. Yeah, congrats to you guys. And good luck. No more gaming for you. Now Kelly's going to shout at me because I forgot to tell her. Okay, we are passing Manning Tree, which is out this way. There somewhere. Where's this, this like wetland area is? It seems to have a name. It's a pleasure, Dave. Good luck to you, sir. So yeah, Kelly, I didn't tell you, but Dave is expecting, or his wife is. Hopefully it's not coming out of Dave. Then I'd be very worried. Why do you keep... Oh, because I got my phone in front of me, because I'm using the map on this side. So I'm looking... My phone is down here on the desk. I'll stand it up here so I don't look down so much. How about that, Jason? Okay, Lorraine, so you lived in South Africa for 3 years. Whereabouts did you stay in South Africa? We are always looking for new places to explore. Sorry, Jason. My phone is now propped up. I must actually just find... I've got a little tripod that holds my phone. I don't know where it is as usual. Ooh, the clouds are getting lower. And my headphone cable is irritating me. Oh, there's a train. That's quite cool. Don't see those in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Take that. Oh geez, there's lots of trains. So Dave, do you know if it's a boy or a girl, or are you not gonna get a surprise? Nice cargo train. That's pretty sick, actually. Jeez, and they've even got real brands. There's Mask, Evergreen, I think that says. I can't really read that. Question for when you're down. Do you see weird things? Do I see weird things in the sim? In South Africa? Lots of weird things in South Africa. What sort of weird things? Dave, we'll find out in 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Right, let's have a look at where we are. So we're coming through Ipswich. And we are not far now. So we're following this, let me show you on here. We're following this line up to the north, kind of. Somewhere up here is where we're going. Needham Market, I think that's where we turn. Yeah, that's exactly where we turn. So there's the airbase over there. That's the airbase there. So we're coming up to Needham Market here. And we turn left. And that's the airbase. So I'm actually going to start slowing us down. Because if I crash, Jason will never ever let me forget it. You never do shouting. Yeah, but you always shout me when you say I don't tell you things. And I feel like I haven't done so well in disproving that theory. So, whoops. But I told you now, so it's fine. Only known for like a week. Okay, not far until I have to try and land this thing. That's when it gets really interesting. Getting better at least. At landing or at telling you stuff? Okay, so I think we've got one more turn to make. At telling you stuff. I hope so. Hope so. Do my best. Okay. Let's bring ourselves down to about 60 knots. Because we have a 90-degree turn to make here at the market. I think it's actually a market. I think it's just a town called Needham Market. Your landing is way better than Darren's. You say this, but you haven't seen me try to land a helicopter, so I feel like there's a very good chance I'm going to prove you wrong. Or, this afternoon, just before I had lunch, I was just setting everything up, getting the controls working, and making sure the aircraft works properly, and I did the best landing of my life. And I was like, if I can do that on the stream, I will be winning. But, as we are very aware, everything tends to go wrong when we start streaming. She knows Darren, she doesn't need to see you land. Fair enough, but once again, this is me flying a helicopter. There's no plane that's ever scared me when it comes to landing, except maybe the Concorde. Concorde is a whole other beast. So we're at 60 knots. I can see the runway lights. I think what I'm going to do, our landing point is way over on the other side of the airfield. Getting a little bit slow. Ah, you stayed in Western area. Okay. Love to show my children. Love to show my children that. Daughter was born in Phil. Use the spelling. Clouds seem odd to me, but I am a rare one. Thank you for a lovely flight and have a good day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, so the clouds in X-Plane aren't the best. The new flight sim, the clouds look very, very good. But this sim is fairly old. I think it was 2014, 2012. Yeah, no, the clouds, I will admit, are not the most realistic looking. Okay, we're getting a little bit fast. Right, so this is the airfield out here. We want to land somewhere down on that side, I think is the helipad. So I think this cable, why is it irritating me so much? Okay, let's ditch the autopilot. And here we go, I guess. Okay, so I'll bring us in a little closer. We want to go around these buildings on this side. Just to our right here is where, it's not the angle I wanted, but just to the right here is where all the aircraft park. Okay, let's start slowing down even more. So in front of these buildings here, I think that's, yeah, in front of these big buildings, those are the aircraft gates. So we're not going there, we're going slightly further down this end. Yeah, somewhere in front of these buildings. I think there's a helipad for us. Right, this is when it starts getting a bit stressful because we're slowing down now. That could be a helipad there on our left, that circle. But I think I'm going to go land in front of these buildings here. It's the nice thing about a helicopter, you kind of do whatever we want. Okay, so now you can hear the sound of the engine changing, going through that buffet as we kind of transition from forward momentum to slowing us down. There's the buffet. So got to increase the power significantly now and balance this out. Our rudders, well, not rudder, using the tail rotor. Okay, make sure that we aren't moving forward, or backwards for that matter, as we touch down. So let's stabilize. And put it down. A little bit nose up attitude on the touchdown, but we are alive. And that is what counts. Right, so what I need to do now is throttle all the way down. Touch that horn. And let's flip this over. Turn off the landing lights. Silence the horn again. That will shut down our engine. Right. So, not as dramatic as I expected. We touched down pretty nicely, actually. Right, now that our engine is spooled down, we can go to FSEconomy, finish our flight, so that'll give us a nice couple of grand. And we can pick up the next, so about 42 minutes, a little bit longer than I thought. We can pick up the next group, load them up. Oh, right. I'm a baddie. Let's just go and rent that aircraft again. Now we should be able to start the flight. Please don't crash. Great landing. It was okay. We were a little bit nose up, so we kind of dragged a little bit on the back of the skids, but it really wasn't it wasn't bad. It could have been a lot worse. So I'm pretty happy with that. We've got some improvement to do, but it could have been way worse. We didn't hit VRS, which was my main thing, because I slowed down nice and early, which made a big difference. Right. So what we need to do now is I'm going to quickly jump into little nav map, and we're just going to reverse this flight plan. So we're going to fly back the same way that we just came. And let's export that so we can load it up in the GPS. Okay, so our passengers are loaded. All of this has stayed the same. We haven't turned any of that off. So all we need to do now is throttle from cutoff to idle. Turn on the landing lights again. Flip the engine into start. And while that's powering up, let's go and load our new flight plan, which is literally just the reverse of what we just did. So it's this guy. And we will head back to London City. And then while we're cruising, I'll pop into FSEconomy and see what jobs we can pick up from London City next. Maybe I'll give you guys some options that we can choose from. And then you can pick where we fly to next. Jason, didn't hear you call me, so you missed it. Well, it wasn't particularly eventful. It was a nice, relatively smooth landing. Okay, but Jason, if you're not watching, keep your eyes on it now, because I'm going to have to take off again. The first takeoff is always kind of the worst, because you have to get everything balanced. Now that I'm already done it once, the aircraft is a little bit more balanced because the trims and everything are set to how I landed. So generally the second takeoff is actually a little bit easier. How disappointing that it went well. Well, fair enough. Let's see if we can do that again. So, we need to go back the way we came. Right, so let's go. We'll lift up the collective. Generally need a little bit of backstick, otherwise it wants to shoot forward as soon as we lift off. Oh, which it's doing exactly that, and I didn't have enough backstick. See, now this isn't supposed to happen. Like if you've ever seen a helicopter take off, they just hop off the ground and they hover right there. I tend to disappear halfway down the taxiway before I get it under control. So I think at the moment my landing was actually better than my takeoffs. Okay, but we are going back this way. You don't really want to fly sideways like that, Dylan. You also don't want to fly into the buildings. Let's keep it under control. And like anything flying, it's more stable when it's fast. Whoa, that was bumpy. So it's when you're flying slow that you have issues. And we are actually heading out this way. So giving our passengers something to think about. Okay, but I'm gonna settle us down a bit now. Over the trees here. Okay, we want to be at about 500 feet. So let's pull some power back. Get us down to 500 feet. Yeah, so there's 500 feet. We'll trim ourselves out manually. And let's now go over to the autopilot. Oh, I'm a baddie, I did it again. I forgot that this thing turns off. It's gonna freak out. I make that mistake every time. So let's hope now I can't see anything. Should recover itself. Alright, there we go. So you guys need to remind me, every time I switch on the engine, I need to re-engage the SAS. Otherwise, that's why I'm struggling so much on the takeoff, because the SAS helps to keep us level. So, I'm such a baddie. Baddie Barnes, that's the one. I keep forgetting that, and I even said, like, I'm struggling more on the takeoff than the landing, was because I don't have that on. So that's why that's why the helicopter's so twitchy, and it just wants to race forward like that because it doesn't have that system kind of smoothing everything out for us. What a potato. Okay, so next takeoff, you guys need to remind me. Make sure I have the SAS turned on. Okay, so once again we have this 90-degree turn here over Needham Market. So keep us below 100 knots. And then once we've completed this turn, well, actually now that we're starting to roll out, let's push our airspeed up. Jason's asking Kelly if she's listening to remind me to turn on the SAS because you won't remember. Thanks, Jason. What a legend. Once again, this is why you have two pilots. And also why you have checklists. Which, for the first time ever, I don't have a checklist. It's quite bad, actually. Should find one for this helicopter. Okay. Well underway on the cruise. So I'll let the autopilot handle that for now. Let's go and have a look at our options out of London City that aren't crazy far. So we've got Sywell, Northampton. So we can go to Northampton, or we can go across the channel to France, or another airport in France. So our options are Northampton, somewhere in France that I can't pronounce. We can do that one. Or we can go to East Midlands Airport. These other ones are very far away. So there's our options. It's Northampton, Business, St. Omer, France, or East Midlands. East Midlands actually isn't going to make us much more money. Could go... These other places are miles away. So the one that's actually going to make us the most money is probably Northampton. Keeps us in the UK as well. But I mean, if you guys are listening, you can let me know. Would you like to stay in the UK? Go to Northampton? Or, and how many passengers want to go to East Midlands? It's a pretty cool airport. 1, 2, 3. Only 3, that's not enough. We won't make much money. We want to take at least 5. So yeah, France or Northampton. You guys have got about 40 minutes to let me know. Yeah, that all looks good. I don't know if I turn on my landing light. It is on now. Okay, Northampton it is. And we have 6 passengers wanting to go to Northampton. So I'm actually just gonna book that now. So they will be ready to go as soon as we arrive in London. And then we will bring another 6 passengers back from Northampton to London City. Cool. As always, hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, remember to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. Just drop my bottle lid. And if you want to get notifications, you can hit the notification bell. Something interesting about this new proud. Yeah, I try to remember to do it. I don't know, it feels, but now that I'm not talking to like 2 people and I know it's you and Kelly, it feels a bit more chill doing it. But I wouldn't have done it without you. Let's put it that way. Our talk is getting a little bit high. Let's back off from the connector a bit. Something interesting about London City Airport is because it's right over the city. See, it's right in the middle. That's a very interesting little cloud. The approach path is actually a lot steeper than a standard approach path to the runway. So normal runway angle is 3 degrees. So as you're coming down to the runway, you are descending at a 3-degree angle. I think London City is like 5. It might even be more. So your aircraft, or the airliners at least, have to be specifically kitted out with special systems to be able to land at London City, and they have to have a special rating. So for example, British Airways has the A318, which is the largest aircraft that operates into London City, and the A318s have a special system. There's actually a button up on the overhead panel that you push just for landing at London City. You actually have a whole different procedure with speed brakes out, and it does different call outs for the flare and the touchdown and all of that. So something interesting about London City. It's one of a few airports that you have a... In fact, I don't know of any other airports that have you need a specific configuration of the aircraft to be able to land there. But there are quite a few airports that need a special rating. So for example, we flew to Innsbruck a little while ago. Need a special rating to go into Innsbruck, but the aircraft doesn't have to do anything special. That's just for the pilots. For London City, you need a special rating for the aircraft and for the pilots. Some of the smaller aircraft don't really need to worry. It's the airliners really that have to be configured specifically to go into London City. Heli, what's the zoo up to? Giving you trouble again. It's messing water everywhere as usual. So something I have done in FSEconomy is I've bought a 407. It's not the one that we're flying now, because funny enough, just bleeding a little, so no stress. Are they fighting you, or are they just playing and scratching you? So the 407 that I bought, there's not very many of them actually around in FSEconomy. So I bought one of the like 3 that was on sale. It's down in New Zealand. So I don't know why I've decided to do this, but I'm gonna ferry it across to South Africa. So it's busy being packed up in a crate and dismantled, so that takes 2 days. And then I need to rent a plane, which is gonna have the range, which all I really have is the citation longitude in new flight sim. And we're gonna have to load that crate up onto the citation and fly that all the way from Queenstown, New Zealand to Cape Town, South Africa, which is like, I think it's like 14 hours worth of flying or something. That's gonna be interesting, and that's gonna be very expensive because the citations are normally about 1,500, 2,000 virtual monies per hour. And obviously I'm not making any money from that, I'm just ferrying it across. So that's going to cost me a lot of money in FSEconomy, which is why we're doing a whole load of these flights, so I can save up a bit of cash to ferry my 407 down to Cape Town, so we can do this around the Cape Town area, which will be kind of cool. Boss was sitting on me and I needed to move my foot, and she went crazy and scratched your foot and hand. Right, so there was a fight. So now you're not speaking to each other, I suppose. Right. Your cat, out of control as usual. Okay, we are going back past Colchester. Out of control. I had to go to the doctor for a cat bite. Jeez, how did you manage that? Was it your cat or another cat? I mean, if it was like a random cat, that would make sense. Like if your cat bit you so bad that you had to go to the doctor, that's a bit concerning. To my allergics. I like this. Thought I had some here in this bag. Oh well, it's not there. Train. Passenger train this time. Oh geez, loads of trains. Cargo train, passenger train. They even have different colors. It's a red one, that's a blue one. So different types of trains. I don't know anything about trains. Had to do a course of antibiotics. Hand was infected because the teeth were full of bacteria. Can't be cleaned with antiseptic. Jeez. That sounds quite hectic. Okay, I'm just going to turn off my camera for a bit. Find my tablets. So they were literally exactly where I thought they were. I'm just an idiot and I didn't look properly. I don't know if you're supposed to do drugs live on stream. Okay, talk 80%, looking good. Shut up a little bit. Only want to cruise around 85. That's not a rule or anything that I learned. It's something I just made up. But it seems like a decent idea. Oh, wow, it's raining really hard. I've heard the sound change. I don't know if the YouTube compression is actually going to let you see the raindrops, because they're quite hard to see. But it is now raining quite hard. Also quite windy. So look at our slip indicator. I'm crabbing a little bit in the wind, but the aircraft is level. That's quite hectic. Flying along the railway again. There's the highway. Next to it somewhere should be the railway. Oh, it's right underneath us. No trains along this part though. Oh, there's a train. Train's going faster than us. That's awkward. That's really awkward. You'd think that a helicopter would be a faster mode of transportation than a train. But that train is motoring. Oh wait, are we actually catching it? I think we actually are catching it. Oh no, we're definitely catching it. Never mind. Pride restored. Faster than the train. Jason, now that I have your attention, was it your cat? Or was it someone else's cat? Right, let's double check how far we are. Where's my navigation? So we're just passing Chelmsford, so we're just over halfway. Not you, Dave. Oh, so was it still in the process of kind of adapting to the new house and stuff? And new people when it bit you? Or does it just hate you? Right, coming up to Chelmsford. This city in front of us. I feel like the weather's actually getting worse. I could have a cat. Everyone's Cat gets stuck in my yard. Oh yeah, I remember this. That's amazing. Like I'm just imagining like you're getting up every morning and there's just like 5 or 6 cats like just sitting in the driveway waiting for you to open a gate. That's amazing. We were introducing the cat to one of the Yorkies. The cat rushed to attack the Yorkies and I grabbed the dog before it got its throat ripped out. So I got bitten 4 times instead. Jeez. Why would you sacrifice yourself for the dog? Yeah, that was Chelmsford. Well, I guess we're still kind of over Chelmsford. We made our turn. Yeah, that does sound the black cat that always comes there and attacks your cats. Oh, Dave, that's still just the funniest thing ever. There's all these cats waiting for you to let them out. That's amazing. Instinct. Bad instinct. As you know, I don't like dogs. Cats are cool though. I like cats. Yes, this is the Chelmsford bypass that we are crossing over. And we're coming up, I think, to Ingatstone? Ingatstone? One of these little towns. Not this one, this is Margaretting. These are weird names. Yeah, so Ingatstone is the next one that we're coming up to. We're kind of heading straight for, I mean, it's on this map here, right in front of us. I was looking at this map on the side. I wonder why Nightbot's taking the night off. Hasn't done anything tonight. Because Jason's not concentrating on what we're doing, he's watching weird Japanese stuff. Okay, this is Ingatstone. Next up is Brentwood. There we go, Dave taking one for the team. Oh, Nightbot's given up. That's awkward. There we go. A little bit of a delay. Oh, it gives Jason a warning, but it doesn't say anything to Dave. Yeah, no, the all caps thing I took away doesn't care about all caps. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think, to be honest, I think it might just be because Nightbot won't spam the chat. So I think if 2 people do it too quickly, it just warns the last person. Because otherwise, if you can imagine when you got loads of people doing stuff, then it gets a bit out of control with Nightbot always posting stuff. Okay, let's increase our altitude a bit. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that is not good. Yeah, the visibility is definitely getting worse. We're gonna kind of go around this hill here. This is Worley Country Park. Have to come down a little bit more. Let's see if we can get back to 500. Sent you a WhatsApp about some cold drink I'm struggling to find. You may have it your side of the world. Right. Let me see. Right. Thanks for that, Dave. Oh wow, it's bumpy here. Jeez. None of that was me. That is just wind. Wow. Yeah, our passengers, we're not getting a great review for this leg. Jeez, this is crazy. Let's slow down a bit. Hectic rain. Yeah, it looks like hopefully the turbulence has stopped. No, it's still there. There's not a lot we can do. Normally we would climb, but I can't. Cannot go any higher than I am at the moment. So I kind of just have to deal with it. It is really intense though. Didn't have any turbulence on the way out. You hear the rain again? Really is chucking us around. Yeah, this is Romford. I don't think we're too far now from from London. No, we've got our 90-degree turn coming up. Hey there, Nightbot has joined the chat. Look at that. Yeah, I'm gonna start slowing down because we've got a 90-degree turn coming up here. And that takes us over to London City, so at least we didn't have to fight the turbulence for too long. So we are almost there. It'll bring us down to about... well, we'll gradually start slowing to 60. There's some more turbulence. We are very close now. Putting us into the IMC, which was not great. Well, very rough. I hope it's not like this on the ground at London City. My baddie landing in turbulence like that, not gonna be impressive. Well, our passengers are hating life. Nice visibility. A friend of mine who used to be my manager lived in Romford for a while. Okay, cool. Yeah, we just flew over Romford. Now we are coming up to Ilford. Here at Ilford, we are going to turn left we don't fall out of the sky because of turbulence before that. Wow, we are struggling. We really are struggling. Weather looks delicious. Yeah, I know. Great. A great idea to fly Heli Ops in London when it looks like this. Mind you, South Africa looks much the same, so I think we would have had just as much, if this much luck flying in South Africa at the moment for our passengers. Anyway, that's why we hand out sick bags. Now, I'm gonna have to land in this. That's the next issue. Yeah, up on our left-hand side is the city of Barking. Apparently IMC. Okay, this is insane. I'm gonna take control of the helicopter and drop us down a bit. We'll deal with the turbulence ourselves. Although now that I've dropped down, it seems like we're okay for the moment, which is good. Let's level ourselves out. Okay, big roundabout on our right hand side. Turn a little bit to the right and follow this road down here. This road with its nice power lines in the middle of it. And then we pass over a big train station. Yeah, it seems just that little 200 feet or so has made all the difference for our turbulence. It's great news for me. Start slowing us down. There's the big train station on that side, and you can see just other side of the water there, so in that kind of like a little island actually, is London City Airport. This is when I tend to get into VRS. It's when I'm descending and slowing down and turning. Down to 40 knots though, so we should be alright, because we're still moving forward. Yeah, we're gonna be okay. Soz Jason, too much of a professional. Did you know, if you had to stream Dotes with Warren, stream could go viral for all the wrong reasons? But yeah, I mean, you're probably not wrong. I honestly, I will still do that sometime. So I'm planning next week to start a new series on the channel where I play games that aren't flight sim. So Dota is something that we can do for sure. But yeah, you clowns, it will be quite funny. And Jason, you can join us as well. Play your stupid Clinks hero. Warren Timbersaw will definitely go viral. And then anyone who watches that and comes to my channel will be like, why the hell is this oak flying a helicopter? Oh, the meme hammer. The tilt hammer. Okay, so our parking is somewhere at the end here. We started off next to all these, well, next to this last ATR here. I actually want to go park at the end there. I'm going to try something, might be a little bit risky, but I actually want to go into this little area and then turn around. So we've done very well so far. So let's take it to the next level. Shouldn't really go over the grass, 'cause it's gonna make dust. Mind you, I don't know what dust you're gonna have in this weather. But we blow all sorts of rubbish into the taxiway, which is not good. Here in front of this little building is where I normally park at London City. Oh, look at these mad skills. Ooh. Car just drove out of that building, that's normal. I'm concentrating so hard. Okay, let's go. Oh, not the best. Should have got rid of the forward momentum before we touched down. We'll take it. We're alive. Okay, get rid of that horn. And let's cut the fuel. We can turn off the landing lights as well. Happens in real life all the time. Yeah. Really chilled. Cars just appearing out of this building. Oh, that says police. I always love these trucks. Austin's vegan food. Austin is the kind of lead developer, I guess, of X-Plane. So they always put his name and they put his face all over stuff. It's quite funny, actually. Cool. We have arrived in London City. Let us open FSEconomy. We'll finish that flight, get another couple of grand. And what I should do, though, just double check that we've got enough fuel for the next flight. I'll probably actually just bump it up anyway. Yeah, we've got it at about 30%, so we'll just bump that up again to 95 gallons. I'll make sure we've got enough to go to Northampton and back. Right, there we go. So there's our next set of 6 passengers. But what we do need to do now is plot our new flight plan. So let's put this over here. And I want to show you guys this as well. Just need to resize this. Cool. Let's swap it over. Right, so now kind of cool, you get this dotted line to show us that's where we've been. So we flew all the way out northeast up into, I can never remember what this thing's called. Hello? Watersham. RAF Watersham. Something like that. Okay, so now we are going from London City and we're going to, what did I say? We're going to Northampton, but I need to get that code. So it's EGBK and it's north. Let's turn this off. I was going to keep snapping back here. So it's out this way somewhere. So we need to look for EGBK. Is EGBT, GTK. Now, normally I find these so quickly. And obviously, because I'm on stream, I can't see it. And I don't know where Northampton is. Okay, not an issue. We will simply search for it. So, London City is our departure. So set as departure. Then somehow we can open up a search. this guy. So let's search EGBK. And let's set that as our destination. Cool. Let's ditch all of these extra waypoints that we created. Now, this gets a little interesting because we have London Luton over here that we don't want to fly right over. Actually, our route is fairly close to the runway, so we could do a nice overhead transition. Oh, Jason, so you actually saw the landing. Nice. That was a decent one. The touchdown was a little bit rough. Okay, let's go up here. That's a nice looking waypoint, so we'll follow that. And we want to stay out of this yellow area. What is this? The specified area. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds terrifying. So we're going to stay out of that. Let's go over this big water feature. That's nice and easy to see. Then we'll come up to this big junction. That's easy to spot. And follow this highway all the way up. Like so. Then we want to cross right over the middle of Luton. So we'll take that. We'll go right over the middle. Let's just add that like so. That'll work. And then we're already in their airspace. So we'll go over to this big intersection. And let's follow this highway. All the way up to Northampton. And then over Northampton we will turn. Go into the city. This big roundabout that's easy to see. And then follow this road. Actually, let's go here. Follow this Sewell Road to the airfield. Right, so that is our route up to Northampton. Don't summon me so casually, please. You're definitely not going to do this at 45,000 feet. I don't know why that says that. 500 feet. Actually, mind you, we probably would actually be IFR in these conditions. Not too much of an issue. Let's go and export this. Right, and now I can switch us back over to the game. Okay, let's snap that to our aircraft. Load up our passengers. I already did that. Okay, that means we can jump in and get started. So we want to set our throttle to idle, which is there. So see, when you're flying, using your feet to do the pedals, the right hand is doing the cyclic, which moves like this, up and down, and then on with your left hand, your collective goes up and down, and you also twist the grip to operate the actual throttle. So there's a hell of a lot going on when you're flying a helicopter. Ooh, our battery's low. I don't know if we're actually going to start. Yeah, our battery's too low, but we have a fix for that. So let's just cut the engine again. So we'll ask the ground crew to connect our ground power unit, which gives us power. So now, if we go and set that throttle to idle, we should now be able to start using the ground unit. Cool, that's working. Okay, what am I supposed to remember, guys, before I take off? Don't let me forget. Okay, we are going to Northampton. What's this guy? Okay, and we are powering up. We'll wait until the engine's stable, then we're on the engine's generator, then we can ditch the GPU, which is about now. GPU can go. Right, engine up. Make sure you're in the helicopter. No. That is not what I'm supposed to remember. I must remember to SAS. I said I need to turn on SAS, not you need to SAS me before I take off. Being in the helicopter. Right. So, we should take off, and we're gonna follow the river to our right hand side, and then up to that big, we're actually gonna pass the O2 arena, and then we find that kind of big intersection, and then up to that water feature. Okay, come on Dylan, don't baddie it this time. The SAS is on, so we should have a bit of an easier time doing this now. Look at that. It does make a big difference, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, we'll go out over this barrier, and I'll show you guys the O2 arena. Let's not hit this building, please. I don't know if you can see it over there, sticking out. Is this the Thames River then? It must be. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you watched Queen. Was it Queen? At the no man, not Queen. Wait, was it Queen? Well, obviously not with Freddie Mercury, but the rest of Queen with another singer. Wasn't that what you watched at though too? I feel like I remember that happening. Yeah, that is the O2 out ahead of us. That big, weird, spiky dome thing. That is it. And we are going to take a right. Past the O2. Start our climb. A little bit wobbly. Yeah, we'll do a bit more hand flying this time. Let's bring ourselves up to about 500 feet. So we're gonna pretty much follow this waterway. Adam Lambert dressed as Freddie Mercury and sang the Queen songs. Okay, cool. But it was with the rest of Queen, if I remember correctly. So it was the band and Adam Lambert, right? Funny, I don't like Queen. Never have. Oh, this is some other stadium. I can't remember the name now. I think it might just be the London Stadium or something. Okay, so next thing we're looking for is the Walthamstow wetlands. This is a hockey field. No, these are cricket fields. I don't know what it's called. It says North Marsh. Wow, the weather is terrible. Okay, so we should be coming up to the wetlands. See those patches up ahead. And there we're going to take a slight left, 313 degrees. Yes, I'm totally hand flying now. I don't have the autopilot on, so we're going to do this leg manually. So there's our next leg. Left. If I say turn right, what a potato. Turn left, 313. Are there any bridges flooded? Yeah, everywhere is flooding. It's hectic. Hopefully, I mean, it's still like a month to go before we are there. Maybe we don't have issues. That'll be awkward. You said Crocodile Bridge, not Crocodile Bridge. Los Harvey is opening again tomorrow. Well, they opened over the weekend, but the office is open tomorrow. Rubbish weather. Oh, rubbish weather for flying. I kind of like the rainy weather. The office is open tomorrow and you'll call in then. Okay, awesome. I'm pretty sure we'll get this the same as like we had for Pretorius Corp. I'm sure they'll give us the one we asked for because hardly anyone's booked. There's still loads of open places. So I think there's a good chance. Hopefully you remember the number I gave you, because I can't remember what I chose. Yes, this is a 9-mile leg. We turn just other side Chipping Barrett, which I can see coming up. We're at 500 feet now. This is UK pretty damn grim. Yeah, it is. Yo. And I mean, the cloud base is like 600 feet. It's super low. Pretorius Corp got 175 mils of rain last night. That is insane. Already sorted out Pretorius Corp, just need to do the one for Los Harvey. Yeah, but like I said, I think we've got a good chance of getting the one we asked for. So few bookings at the moment. But yeah, Lorraine, this weather is hectic. I mean, it's normal for the UK. In South Africa, the weather's crazy. Like Kelly was saying, 175 mils of rain overnight in one of the spots in the Kruger Park. That's crazy. We don't normally get weather like this. I mean, we have storms all the time, but you know, it rains hard for half an hour, maybe an hour, and then it's done. Now it's been raining hard for a whole week. Yep, low cloud base all over the UK. Okay, so now we're looking for a big junction of the highways, and when we hit that, we're going to turn right to, I don't know yet, I'll see in a bit. Okay, so up to almost 700 feet, we're just about to come into the clouds, so let's chill on the climb. So we need to turn right to 4 degrees. So here's a big junction of roads, so let's go 4 degrees. Actually, we're just following this big road here on our right, so that's pretty chilled. Yeah, so going up this way out towards Northampton, we are... ground is getting higher, because we're now at almost 750 feet. Luckily, the weather also seems to be a little bit higher cloud base. I mean, we are barely VFR at this point. 700 feet now. We are just below the clouds. Kelly, you do remember the ones we want to stay in. That's awesome. That's good. Okay, here we go. Following this road. So, we're coming up now to... oh, a little bit bumpy there. To Ellenbrook. There's this little town up ahead. And here, we stop following the road. I think this is where we maybe start heading out towards Luton. Okay, so here at the roundabout, which is coming up now, just this one, no, not this roundabout, the next one, there's another big one. We turn left 305 degrees. That's this big one, just here on our right. There we go. So, as we pass over this, it's another 4 nautical mile leg. Okay, so let's go 305. And so past the forest, so we should fly over the forest and pick up the railway line. So once we hit the railway line other side of the forest, we follow that all the way up, I think, until we branch off to cross Luton's runway. So we're going to pass a city, which is Marshallswick, Jersey Farm. Oh, Jersey Farm Woodland Park. So we'll see the little park on our left coming up shortly. Then we pass a little town called Sandridge on the right, and then over Heartwood Forest and pick up the railway line. This is cool. I like the kind of VFR style navigate. Even though we can barely see anything, we're still picking up landmarks on the side. So this here must be Jersey Farm Woodland Park. This is this one here. And the forest should be over there. We're going to cross over St. Albans Road, which is this guy here. Still think clouds look odd. Not much else to see. Yeah, this is what the X-plane clouds look like. Yeah, it's a relatively old sim, so the clouds don't look the best. But the flight model is fantastic in X-plane. So new flight simulator, the clouds look incredible. Everything looks incredible. The scenery is amazing, but the flight model's not so great yet, which is why I still like to fly X-plane. But if you have a look tomorrow, we're going to do some low-level VFR flying like this in Flight Simulator in South Africa. It's probably also going to be relatively cloudy, but you'll get to see just how much more realistic that one looks. So if you tune in tomorrow, you can check that out. But yeah, I do agree. The clouds don't look completely realistic, but we live with it. Okay, so we're gonna follow this railway up for a little bit, and over the town here, which is Harpen. I can't see the end of the name. My little route is over it. Okay, but we are now heading straight towards London Luton. So in reality, we would contact Luton Tower and ask to transition overhead the airport. We are going to assume that they said yes, because depending on how busy they are, they might say no. But we are just gonna go ahead under the assumption that they were nice today and they let us transition overhead the airfield. So I'm seeing lights there. I don't know if that's actually the airport. I mean, it is straight in front of us, so it could be. Yeah, once we reach the airport, we need to turn left over the runway to 302. I'm going to pick up my speed a little bit. We don't want to hang around in Luton's airspace for any longer than we need to. Still don't see the runway. Oh, I think I do. Pretty much, yeah, we're lined up with the taxiway. So the runway is perpendicular to us. Yeah, so here we go, London Luton. And we will turn left. I'm gonna go right past the tower. What did I say? 302. Big cargo airport. There's all the cars. I think Luton it does a lot of cargo, if I remember correctly. Okay, so now we are looking for a big intersection of highways. We're going to pass over another little cleared area called Marsh Farm. So that's what we're going to pick up next. A little bit to the left, we need to be 302. Yeah, once again, I'm concentrating quite a bit because there's no autopilot this time. We are hand flying this just to show you that I can do it. And because it makes it fun. Right, so we should pass a little roundabout on our right. There it is. This is Montrose Avenue. And we're going to follow this heading directly. And we're going to look for a little river system. And we're going to pass over a clearing, which is Marsh Farm. A whole bunch of like soccer fields. Football fields, sorry. We're in the UK. Okay, so we just need to keep an eye out for that little river. Looks like it could be this little green patch. I think it is. And there should be an opening, which is called Leagrave Common. That's this, I think. We should cross over a railway line and then come to a big intersection with two roundabouts. That's our next marker. So we have, this is the railway line on our left. Oh, this big factory, this is Vauxhall. Vauxhall After Sales Warehouse. Just other side this, we should pick up that intersection, which is this one. So now we turn right 336 degrees. Yeah, we're up to 800 feet. So a town I actually recognize the name of. Up ahead, on the left, we're going to pass it soon, is Milton Keynes. Okay, so this road is what we're going to follow now for a bit. I got the aircraft nice and trimmed so I can stretch and take my hands off the controls. It will keep going, still not autopilot, just got it trimmed out nicely. Okay, let's follow this road. This is the M1, the famous M1. We're going to follow that, we're going to turn with it off to the left in a bit and keep following that. Okay, so shortly the M1 should branch off to the left. And we're just going to keep following it. So off this side somewhere, I don't know if you'll see it, is Woburn Safari Park. I think it's a little bit too far for us to actually see. Let's keep following the M1. It should keep kind of gently branching off to the left. Which it is. Okay, so the cloud base is still there. The visibility's gotten a little bit better. So what I mean is we can see a little bit further, which is fairly normal. Okay, we're gonna carry on along the M1. It's a nice sweeping turn. All the way past Milton Keynes. And I don't know what's coming next after that. That's our next waypoint. We're just sticking with the M1 for quite a bit. So Ridgemont is the next intersection we need to keep an eye out for. So I'm just picking out these kind of obvious points like the intersections and farms and stuff like that. So this, there we go with the two circles. So this is Ridgemont here, so that I can know where I am on the map. Kind of just looking down the M1. The next thing is where the M1 splits off, and we have the H8 splitting off from the M1, so that's the road running next to it on the left. It's the H8, I think. And that splits off at Eagle Farm and goes in towards the city. Which is there. Okay, so now I know where I am. I'm going to carry on following the M1. So the next point we need to keep an eye out for is where London Road crosses the M1. Pineham. Ooh, turbulence there. And there's a nice big intersection there as well. So we'll keep an eye out for that, so that I know where we are on the map. And that's what our visual navigation is all about, picking out points on the ground. Because often what people do is just go, okay, cool, I'll follow the M1, and you just keep following it. But if you don't keep kind of updating your reference to see, especially if you don't have a moving, I'm not actually looking at this map, it's just there for interest's sake. If you don't have a moving thing like this on your GPS, you've just got a map, you need to keep picking out points so that you know where you are. Right, so this is where London Road, there's our intersection. So that's where it crosses. So the next thing is H3. some sort of mine or something on this side, and we have another big road crossing the M1 and a smaller road crossing before that. That's pretty easy to see. So there's a small road crossing, there's a big road crossing with a nice big bridge. I don't really see the mine or anything. Oh, it could be this area flying over now. That's pretty obvious. So there's a small road, big road, and there's also the waterway, which is Tongwell Lake. So now we're going to pick up another big intersection with lots of car parks. And there's loads of water off on the left, so that we can see that coming up. And we have a road that crosses the M1. So there's an intersection, there's water, there's a road crossing, so we know where we are. And at this point we need to turn 318. We're going to come to the left a little bit, but we're still following the M1 anyway. So the heading doesn't matter too much. We're sticking along the M1. All the way up to, we're going to come in right at the south of Northampton, as weird as that sounds. And so our next point is, there's a forest along the M1, so we'll update our kind of reference at that point. And then the next thing is Northampton, so we'll see the city, and we're going to turn right to head north over the city. And that heading is 23 degrees. Head over the city, pick up some of the road features inside the city, and follow that up to the airfield. I don't know if half the M1 is raised like that in real life. I'm going to guess it's not. I think that's just an explained scenery thing. I mean, you do see this in real life as well. You'll often see helicopters flying. They normally don't fly exactly above the road, but flying next to it. It's a great way to help you navigate, especially when the weather's like this. There's a common joke that goes around saying I fly IFR, which is I follow roads instead of instrument flight rules. Okay, so this looks like it could be the forest. Those are trees. So it should be a pretty big green patch on the right of the M1 and a little town on the left that will put us at Selsey. Selsey Forest. There it is. So we've got loads of trees on the right hand side, and we've got the little town on the left. So I know where we are. We are almost at Southampton. No, not Southampton, Northampton. Oops. Okay, so we're going to keep following the M1. I know I've said that like 1,000 times. That's Hartwell, that little city we just passed over. And the visibility looks like it's getting worse. Okay, so next thing we're going to pick up is London Road again. Interesting. That once again crosses over the M1, so we'll look for that reference. And then after that, we're looking for the big kind of spaghetti junction thing. Oh no, we're not actually, we're going past that. So we're looking for the railway line. So now we're going to pass this next big intersection where London Road crosses, and there is a shopping centre, it looks like, Grange Park on the right, and we also have a landfill on the right. So that's what we're going to look for. Nice big shopping centre on the right, big intersection with London Road crossing almost perpendicular, which is looking like this here. So I don't really see a shopping center. That's the intersection. Maybe it's not a shopping center, maybe it's just houses. Okay, so we should come up next. We should look for the railway, and that looks like it over there, crossing in front of us. So when we pick up the railway, we're going to follow that to the northeast. And that's going to take us into Northampton. There is the railway. Okay, so let's follow the railway. It's nice. IFR works for roads and railways, so we are all good. Okay, the railway disappears there, so I can only imagine that that's supposed to be a tunnel. Yeah, it is actually. That's quite cool. There's a tunnel on the map. Well, it's not as big as this one seems. Right, so next thing we're going to pick up. We should cross over kind of wetland area. And then at the railway station we need to turn right to 40 degrees, so 40. There's the railway station there, which is going to take us over the center of Northampton. So let's go right to 40 degrees, which is about there. It's actually a little bit too much, that's 50 degrees. Okay, so now we are going to look for a nice big roundabout. So four big roads, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big roads joining a nice big roundabout. And at that point we're going to pick up the main road that goes north from the roundabout and follow that. So keeping our eyes open. Obviously we can also look at that map here. So following this road, there's the little roundabout, and we're going to follow this main road up to the north. So there should be a park coming up with a bit of a water feature inside it. Oh, the visibility is cleared up quite a lot. Just noticed out this way. Back there it's still pretty rubbish. It's cleared up a little bit. And flying too far to the right, we need to come this way. Yeah, I think this is the roundabout. Yeah, looking on the map there, that weird squiggly thing is the roundabout. So this big road going up this way is what we want to follow. And we are also going to start slowing down, because the next thing we're going to do is follow a small road out to the right, which is coming up fairly soon. It's the next little roundabout. I think it might even be this. Yeah, there's the little roundabout on the left. Just saw that. So we're going to come around. Should actually be following that road, but we overshot it a little bit, which is fine. All these houses are actually along the road. So looking on the map, I can see that all the houses are in a straight line along the road that we want to follow, so that's fairly easy to see. So if we follow this line of houses, that must be the airfield up ahead, that big open area. I can actually see the runway there. Nice, so we can start slowing down and descending into this little Sywell. I think that's what it is. Sywell. So that's Sywell. Sywell. Probably so. Pardon. Oh yeah. But we have arrived. Well, sort of. We're here. We need to still land. Okay, so that's the road we were going to follow. So we'll actually just make our approach in here. And the helipads are on this side of those buildings. Not these buildings here by the road. It's kind of on that side over there, behind, next to those buildings somewhere. So let's see if we can find that. A little bit slower than I want it to be, but I want to zoom in and see if I can spot them. So I think they're supposed to be here somewhere. There's one there. We'll go land on that one. So in reality, we wouldn't slow down this much. We're down to 30 knots, which is pretty slow. But I just want to take it easy, make sure we get on the ground safely. Okay, we'll kind of follow this taxiway, and as I say that, I speed all the way up. Right, let's slow down. Got a bit of a flare. Bring the speed down, and there on our right is the helipad that we want to land on. So give it a bit of right boot so we can bring it around here. Doing my best to balance everything out. This is a pretty small little patch that we've got to put it on here. A little bit deceptive from the cockpit, because we actually need to be more forward, because that looks like we're over it, but it's actually in front of us. Let's go forward a little bit. Yeah, that should be a little bit more forward. And that should be good. Let's settle down nicely over there. Right, so I'm going to bring the collector down. Throttle all the way down. Get rid of the beep. And we'll go cut off, beep again. Yeah, well, at least we're getting better at the landings. That was a lot better. Let's have a look outside and see. Slightly to the right, but that's not too much of an issue. Okay, let's drop off these passengers. And load up the next set. Okay, then the other thing we need to do is just reverse this flight plan. Need to get a new chair so my chair stops squeaking so much. Right, so we'll export that. We'll jump back in the chopper. And let's load it up. That's the one. We're going back to London City. Right. Okay, let's throttle to idle. Gauge the starter. Watch that the temps are coming up. And the NG is coming up. That's good. Fuel is still more than 45%. That can't be percent, it's pounds. Okay, so 464 pounds. There's an actual number right at the bottom. Dylan, you potato. So we are good on fuel. That was the point of that whole thing. Okay, so we'll throttle up. You'll see the rotors increasing the speed as we increase the throttle. And now that they are coming up to speed, let's turn on the SAS. Didn't drink any water on that leg because I was hand flying the whole way, so let's have a bit of water. Okay. Right, here we go. Keep it nice and balanced. Yeah, so that's what I need to work on, is catching it so that it doesn't run forward like that when we start. Go over to this taxiway, and then we'll follow that Sywell Road back down to Northampton town. Right, we can start speeding up now as we leave the airfield. Get the engine change as we kind of push through that translation from mostly vertical movement to flying horizontal. It's probably not the technical way of putting that, but hopefully you know what I mean. Right, then we're going to follow Sywell Road. All the way down back into Northampton. And I think to give myself a break, I'm going to do a bit more autopilot on this one. So let's go GPS. So that's going to follow our GPS route now. And let's get ourselves up to about, let's do 800 feet. So the visibility's cleared up a little bit. The cloud base has improved significantly. And the visibility is much better. And we'll make our way back to London City. So they're coming up 700 feet, giving us some more collective, so we go up to 800. Picking up the speed now, 110-ish. There's 800 feet coming up. So we'll go altitude hold. And we'll go up to 85, around 83, 85 on the torque, which will push us up to about 130 knots normally. So 85.7 currently on the torque, that's perfect. Right, otherwise all looking good. On our way back to London City. And I think that's probably going to be the last leg for this stream. Flying the helicopters is actually it's a bit more intense than flying the aircraft. Feeling more tired than usual. And normally with the aircraft we do for 3 hours at least, sometimes up to 5.5. But a lot of concentration going into flying the choppers. Are you impressed? I'm still watching. I am quite impressed. It's after bedtime. Is the zoo keeping you awake, or are you just chilling? Obviously, it's always cool to have you watching. Wow, very bumpy. We might have to fly this manually again. The turbulence is going to be bad. Yeah, I think we're going to take over. Okay, so what's coming up next? Following the M1 for a long way. Are you excited? I'm super excited for you as you said you're gonna go pick it up tomorrow. Now I'm having to do quite a lot of work. Well, I said the viz had improved, but it seems just out to the north it's better, because as we're coming back, that's not good. As we're coming back towards the London area, it's getting bad again. Once again, we had no issues with turbulence on the way up. Awesome, that sounds better. Glad you're excited. Right. Let's stay below 700 feet here, because that seems to be where the cloud starts. Maybe even lower down here, 650. Making good speed. And we're going to follow the M1 for a while. The turbulence has kind of calmed down. Let's see if we can get away with autopilot again. Now I can have some water. As always, to those of you who are still watching, thank you so much for choosing to spend your Sunday evening hanging out with me. Hopefully you guys all have a fantastic Monday and a great start to the week. I always appreciate you coming to hang out and watch me fly around. Okay, so turbulence seems to have relaxed, at least for now. Yes, the cloud base over Northampton is actually the worst. Looking a little bit more chilled. That way looks nice. Back out towards London. Rubbish. As to be expected. Flashing lights at a police car. That's pretty cool. He's driving in the barrier. Nice. Let's see if we'll catch up to him. He's way faster than the other cars, which is cool. I mean, pretty cool that they put details in like that. We should be going faster than a car, even a police car. Something we didn't even see earlier. I don't know if we'll see it. Out here on our left somewhere. Hey, you look like you are helping the car. Yeah, it's a pity there's no like mods and stuff. There's a rescue mod that I've been trying to get to work because that's kind of cool. So it like spawns random like heli rescue situations in the area, and you have to go and like pick up injured people and respond to car crashes and stuff, but I haven't been able to get it to work properly. So that's the one thing everyone's been saying for the new flight sim. They've said that helicopters are coming to the new flight sim, but only in 2022. So it's still going to be a whole year at least before we even see them start being introduced. And hoping they can put kind of stuff like that where you can do police chases and things like that. That'll be really cool. So I'm going to keep trying to get the rescue mod to work. My only thing that I can think of is that it's possible X-Plane was updated a little while ago to a new version where they introduced the Vulkan and Metal APIs, and that broke a lot of the add-ons. And I think maybe the rescue add-on, the mod wasn't or has never been updated to work with the new version of X-Plane, because yeah, I just can't get it to work. Oh, big change in the weather there. There he goes. Wow, now he's in between the barriers in the middle. Very interesting. But it is kind of cool. I still think it's cool that they put in those little details that the police car is actually going faster than all the other vehicles. Just makes it interesting. Okay, so weather, our visibility has improved slightly again. Not actually slightly, it's fairly significant to be honest. But we'll see as we get closer to London if London's actually improved or if it's still as bad as it was before. Yeah, still following the M1, roughly. We'll take over a bit from the autopilot, because this part is relatively easy. We're just following the M1. Looking for your next farm. You're still super keen to see Farming Simulator. Well, now that I'm starting that series where we play other games, I can do that. I'll have to break out my old farm that I had, get everything running again, because it's been a while since I've done Farming Sim. Do you play Farming Sim, Dave? Why are you so keen to see it? I don't know how interesting it'll be to stream. And again, I mean, I am streaming myself flying a helicopter or a plane. Oh no, the other games should be interactive with the audience. I mean, what games? I mean, what games could I play like that? You mean like Dota interactive? There's more police cars up ahead. They're going in the opposite direction though, so something's going down. There are lots, even small games. But like I was thinking, of when I was saying other games of like other simulators. So like the Call of the Wild stuff, the hunting stuff. I was gonna do like truck sim, farm sim. Mud Run is pretty cool. Spin tires. What else? Yeah, I was thinking of that kind of stuff. Not playing like Among Us and things like that. That's not my vibe. If you want to play interactive games with the audience, come join with the 404 when we stream on Thursdays. We often do things like Jackbox and stuff like that where the audience can join in. Here's where we can mess with you. Fair enough. Oh, forgetting here that I'm hand flying. Just reading comments. I'm supposed to be following the road. Okay, this intersection coming up now, just other side of these trees. We are going to break off another police car up ahead. Also going that way. Something's definitely going down behind us. Okay, so this next, like I was saying, the next little intersection, we're going to break off and follow the railroad. And then that means we're getting close to Luton again. So we'll do the same thing, transition over the center. There's the railroad, so let's follow that. There's some trains. The railroad does not look safe. Passenger train. Passenger train. I tried train sim. That was one simulator I could not do. I don't know why. So I really thought I'd enjoy train sim, and when I first started it was kind of cool, but then I don't know. Even I got bored doing it because you don't steer. You just do brakes, throttle really. I mean the throttle you just push up, let it go, and then you kind of have to just do the brakes to stop in time at the stations, which isn't easy. It's actually fairly difficult. But yeah, even I found train sim boring. Okay, so this is Milton Keynes, and we are about 2.5 miles from London Luton. We need to give ourselves a little bit of altitude, so let's do that. Up to 800 feet. There's 800 coming up. Level off there. Okay, about a mile now from London Luton. Actually, we can look on there and say exactly 2 miles. And we will transition over the runway. It looks like actually on the track. We might fly straight into the tower. Let's not do that. So there is Luton's car park. This will be all the cargo stuff. Loads of cars parked out the side. There's all the gates. It's actually quite a cool airport where you come in through this little section over here, and then all the gates are this kind of like closed off little area. That's actually really cool. I think we're going to have to do some flights into Luton. That's quite interesting. Thanks so much for the stream. I'm going to be off. Nightbot will watch the comments for me. Thank you so much, K-Sizzle. always tuning in. See you again tomorrow's stream. Thanks so much and have a good night. Yeah, not far to go now. We've passed Luton. I want to see what this town is. This is the town where I couldn't read the end. I just zoomed in crazy. Harpenden, okay it is. So I couldn't see the last letters because my GPS track on the other map covers the letters. Okay, talk, all good. Temps good. Fuel, still fine. All is well. Okay, so we're coming over Harpenden now. Make a left turn 125 degrees. Still following the railroad, but this next turn, so other side this city, I don't know if you call it, I guess it's a town. Other side this little town, we are going to branch off over the forest. So we are leaving the railroad now. It's coming up shortly, so just the other side of the town here, we will branch out to the forest, which is out that way. Yeah, so any second now, autopilot will intercept that turn. There's the railroad. On our right. Just as we're about to cross it, we're going to turn left. There we go. Now we've got another 4 miles to go. Our next point, which is where pick up another road. Is the A1 it looks like. What is that light overhead there? It's a red light over there. Oh, it's just a tower. Kinda cool. Got the red light on the tower. Okay, still at 800 feet. Our visibility is a lot better than when we left London City. Looking good all around. Possibly quite bad out that way. But we're going kind of there. We should be okay. It's not worse than when we left, which is good, which means we can make it into London City. Okay, passing over these little open areas, across St. Albans Road, then at the roundabout we're going to turn right 157 degrees. So coming up to the roundabout, there it is, actually near that little tower. I didn't notice that on the way up. Okay, so just overhead here, we're going to turn right. We're going to follow this. It says A1 brackets M. I guess maybe the A1 becomes the M1. Anyway, following the A1 for now. So this, underneath us, we are crossing Holgate Road. Royal Veterinary College. over there. This... Yeah, it's this one here. Cross over the road. Okay, next big intersection. Left turn 133 degrees. I watched my friend get murdered by a ghost. Happened right in front of my eyes. Should have been me. Are you playing Phasmophobia? Go, left turn 133. Another police car. Nice. The game's hectic. We tried that game. Didn't go well. Would have been interesting if I said no. Yeah, well, then I was gonna ask what game you were playing. Because I was thinking Among Us, but I don't think ghosts can kill people in that game. I think you can be a ghost in Among Us if you die. I don't think they kill people. I don't know. I never played the game. It never interested me at all. Yeah, not far to go. The next major waypoint is Walthamstow, where we turn. Nah, that doesn't interest me in the slightest. All of those things, Among Us, Fall Guys, all of those things, not my thing at all. Cannot be bothered. Among Us is a lot different once you play it. It's so much fun. I doubt that. Right, we're about to make our way into London. So at this point, we would actually contact... what airspace is this? It's London Centre, right? So... oh, we're outside. We're still outside... ah, there, London City. We would contact London City and ask for permission to enter their TMA. Yeah, it looks like the visibility is getting a little bit worse. Mind you, the cloud base is higher. We're at 800 feet. On our way out, we did this at 500 feet. So, our base is slightly higher. Kind of like chopping down trees. That's my favorite. Right, I think we're gonna drop a little bit of altitude. We can come down to 500 feet just to stay out of the soup. Look at the rain again. So yeah, over London, still pretty bad. Out to the north, got it slightly better. Now we're passing over Tottenham now. Up to that, those marshes. Gonna turn right, 154. slowly bring us down to 500 feet. There's 500. Got the altitude again. And we'll bring the torque up, so we speed back up to our 130-ish. Right, there's our little wetland area. So we'll make our turn. Now back down towards the O2. And then we'll make our approach into London City. So very close now. Follow this wetland all the way down. I'm going to start bringing back the power. Dave, you just gifted me a copy of Among Us. What if I just reject? How much is that game even? Right, there's the O2 just on the right. You can see the Thames up ahead. Let's touch the autopilot and hand fly our approach into London City. It was a whole 42 rands. You are so generous, Dave. But I feel like you've wasted your money. Yo, this gets even worse here in London. Hectic. Yeah, it starts slowing down. See the runway lights. We will get you in there. Not nearly as bad as Dota. Fair enough. Yeah, I can see the runway lights. Stay above the power lines. Yeah, so we're going to make a nice chilled approach. Our stand is kind of on the side there, so there's that big fence that we landed next to. So we're just going to make sure we clear the fence, and then we'll touch down at that same gate. Drop too much because this fence is quite hard. We are slowing down nicely though, which is great. I don't really want to go below sort of 20 knots. There's that transition. So the key is just to take it nice and easy. All those times earlier when I got into VRS, I think I was just rushing it. Oh, is my camera switched off? Not really gonna bother with lining it up. Mind you, we can. Oh yeah, nice. Means the battery's died. Okay, we are down on the ground. Right, so throttle down. Cancel the horn. We'll cut out the engine. Cancel the second horn. Now that we're done, we can actually turn everything off. So let's turn off the fuel pumps, all of the flight instruments. Turn off the aircon and the heaters. Heater heats, defog, avionics, anti-collision light. Generator can go off. And battery off. Anyone ever get hit by the blades? I mean, in real life, I'm pretty sure it's happened at some point. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's just bring in the rotor brake. That just slows down the rotor blades. Right, and we can cage this guy. And there we are, back in London City. Oh, look at that parking. That was pretty solid. Nice and straight. Yeah, so we definitely got better at landing. I still want to touch down a bit smoother. It's not 100% perfect, but it could be a hell of a lot worse. Let's go and finish our FSEconomy flight. There we go. So we've delivered our 6 passengers. Or maybe it was 5 coming back. Can't remember. I think it was 6. But we've made, in the stream for FSEconomy, we've made a good 18 grand. So that's nice. That'll go towards flying my 407 all the way out from New Zealand. I'm not going to fly the helicopter from there. I'm going to put it on a plane and carry it here because, geez, flying from New Zealand to Cape Town at 130 knots will take us years. Actually, we just wouldn't have the range to get across the oceans anyway. Right, but that brings us to the end of the stream. Let me just double check that everything is sorted, which it looks like it is. All right. Yeah, so I had a good time flying the 407. I think I'll do some more helicopter flying. I was going to wait until Microsoft Flight Sim had helicopters, but now that they've said it's over a year, thought we'd jump into doing some helicopter stuff. Once I can get DCS sorted and running decently, which is always a mission, maybe we'll do some more helicopter flying in the Huey and DCS world. But anyway, for tonight, as always, thank you so much for watching, spending your Sunday evening checking out my Flight Sim stream, or Explainer stream, I guess. It's much appreciated as always, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. I think we're going to be doing new Flight Sim stuff, doing some FSEconomy around South Africa, like we often do. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, before I say goodbye, let's just cue up the outro. Cool. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. Have a great night. Have a great start to the week. And I will see you again soon. Bye bye.